Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ultimate 10. And today with me, I have someone really important for the League of Legends community. He actually runs Reign of Gaming, which has a large number of articles that are really helpful to anyone trying to get into competitive play. And it's Elements from Team Curse. Why don't you say hi and introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Elements from Team Curse. I guess my claim to fame is, as you said, a tier list, and yeah, I've been playing professionally for a couple years now.
Okay. And you want to talk about this little engage here before we start going into the interview?
Yeah, as you see, we're not checking with Pobelter's Q with his Shuriken on Kennen. You notice how we checked the first brush, and then we just kind of like herp derp derp all the way into the next brush, right? So it really didn't work out too well for us. That was our mistake for not doing that, and it kind of really screwed us over. As you can see, we actually lost two people there. Um, to only getting one kill. So that's actually a really bad way to start off a competitive game. And we might actually make it out here, which we're going to do because Gragas's barrel doesn't do that much damage.
Just want to point out for everyone watching that this is actually from IPL, I believe on the 16th of February, or no, sorry, earlier than that, but it was early February.
Yeah,
Um,
this is early IPL qualifiers.
yeah, and well, let's just start the interview talking about your history. Did you play any games before the league? How long have you been playing leagues? Stuff like that.
Yeah, I started playing, I guess, like semi-professional, I guess, video games when I was playing Warcraft 3. I was in a clan called KOD, or Keepers of Destruction, and yeah. Honestly, it was really fun, and I was all like into the name because I was like, I'm 16, I love this. Anyways, not to bash any 16-year-olds, but I was really into it because I was a big closet nerd back then too. Anyways, yeah, I played Warcraft 3. I got top 10 in every single ladder on US West, which is not as prestigious as Europe or US East for Warcraft, but I was a pretty good ladder player. I actually I actually did a couple tournaments and stuff like that, but I had a couple. I actually played with a couple of guys that are professional StarCraft players now, Strife Crow and Axlav, who went on and now they're in the professional StarCraft 2 scene in the North American scene. So that's kind of how I got into esports. From there, stopped playing Warcraft 3 for quite some time, and I picked up WoW, and I was a big WoW nerd for a while. I ran a guild and had some success with that, and then I actually got into Dota because I was just kind of got sick and tired of playing World of Warcraft, and from there I found out about League of Legends beta, and that was my, I guess, descent into professionalism.
Okay, and I just want to point out here that you actually just CV'd and pinged Shabana at her red, and I kind of want you to go over why you're running CV because there's been such a large trend of supports, running Flash Exhaust or Exhaust Heal.
Yeah, you run CV versus these strong counter junglers or junglers who just like they come into your lane really quickly as well. Like Shyvana just presses W and it's like a freight train, coming down the river, and there's really nothing you can do about it. Especially in a lane where you don't have any CC. I mean, I've got a slow, but I need to have three charges, and then I have my what's it called, proc Song of Celerity, I believe it's called on Sona. Anyways, just our E or Cops E, which is like both are not that great of slows early game too. So it's like we don't have any CC bottom lane. They have a strong jungler who's incredibly fast, clears camps incredibly fast. So we have to worry about counter jungling and warding for ourselves. So if I run out of wards, I still got CV, so I can catch this guy so he won't just like run down lane and murder us.
Okay, and why are you guys exactly running Sona in this composition?
Um, I believe this is when Sona was still pretty strong. This is, I think it's pre-nerf Sona with her, so her auras are a lot stronger. And Sona generally just has, like as you can see, an incredible amount of sustain. MF counters the Soraka heals and stuff like that, and so I just spam W on Cop all day, and he just basically does what I want, and I poke and harass when I can. Um, yeah, and it's more so. It's even like it goes into like a counter a little bit later game. I mean, we're stronger overall because my auras are just better, way better for team fights than Soraka's is, and we have the counter healing reduction with MF's W passive.
Right, right, and speaking of having Sona for this game, actually, I want to go over your masteries and runes because I looked at your masteries before, and you're not running any spell pen, any armor pen, well, obviously an armor pen, and no cooldown reduction. I don't know if that's a glitch vanilla replay or you're just running really heavy defensive tree.
Yeah, I got 21 armor. I got armor reds and armor yellows that I'm running right now.
And you use that like strictly just for being able to harass in lane with Sona since she's just so dominant in that ability.
Um, no, I took it because it's just playing defensive and not dying is something that you really want to do. And again, we have Shyvana who's very very strong damage wise, right? She runs down lane and just like murders you. So this is more like of a defensive. I can survive better. I can take less harass, and if a jungler comes and tries to gank me, I won't get instantly gibbed because if I don't run, say I ran M-Pen runes and I ran regen yellows, I would have had like I think it's 21 less armor. So, I would just get chunked if someone came in or they just wanted to trade with me, right? So that makes it even harder to sustain and harder to keep myself in lane. And that's really all I want to do is just be in lane, spamming heals on Cop, making sure his laning phase is as good as possible.
Yeah, I definitely that's definitely a really good point because I know a lot of AD carriers are starting to just burst down the support. Typically they don't run any armor or defensive masteries. So, like for instance, Graves can pretty much 100 to 0 you if you're not running any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, it's also because they have a sustain. They have Soraka. If I don't sustain better than she does, then we're going to probably lose our lane. If it was versus someone like Janna or these a non-sustain support that's not really like too big of a threat, like a Nunu maybe, I could run super heavy regen and M-Pen, and I could harass more. I could do that kind of stuff, so I can out harass the lane with my AD carry. But in this case, I just want to sustain versus the other sustain, and sustain better than he does.
Yeah.
As dumb
Um,
as that sounds.
what about early game goals as support? Typically going for GP5 is obviously what you want to do, but what's your technical goal for early game?
Well, I guess a little point right here you can see is I was hitting the creeps once right before they got hit by the tower. So I was actually making it so Cop didn't have to try to last hit those creeps. All he has to do is wait for one tower hit on the creeps and then he goes bang, picks up the creep. I mean, that's something that's really undervalued by a lot of support players, I think. And people don't realize that you can make your carry get that much more CS by helping out CSing a tower or just creeps in general. But I guess for early game goals, yeah, it is. Basically, you want to have ward coverage everywhere. That's the most important thing. You want to light up the map like a Christmas tree, is the saying I like to say. Um, and that's really it. I mean, it's just get your gold per 10 item. Make sure you got tons of wards out. And again, when I catch someone in the jungle or catch someone moving, like they're saying, "Hey, we got two people coming top," I'll CV for them and say, "Hey, they're here. Be careful," like that. Basically, a support, you just want to oversee the map because laning phase isn't too doesn't require too much, I guess, focus to really win it, especially with like a stupidly strong sustain like Sona. So I can just say, hey, this is where I think they are. You should watch out. Middle's missing right now. We don't know where their jungler is. Kara, Pobelt, or top. That kind of stuff. That's what I'm doing right now.
Okay, and I noticed that Crumbs is actually like keeping track of let's see his buffs and enemy buffs. Do you try to keep track of anything as well to help out? Like, do you take track of
Yeah.
enemy wards at bottom?
Well, the thing about that is, yeah, I do actually. If I see someone place a ward, it's just a 3 minute timer, so I can say, hey, especially if we don't have like an area warded or it's super early game, that's when you want to do that. And and yeah, I mean, just count the ward down. If you don't have wards out and they placed a ward there, that's the best thing to do because then your jungler can come in and they know exactly when they can gank. So if you catch it, for instance, did you see how I just placed a ward there? If they had timed my ward and they had their jungler waiting just up a little bit up, they could have had Shyvana run directly in and killed us both, right?
Right.
If they had it warded because they know I would have to go back over there and ward it. So now split second time, if they did the right a good time timing that, they could have got a nice gank out of it. But again, that requires a lot of coordination and like the right timing. Okay, I'm in the area. I know the ward's coming out. That kind of stuff.
And I was actually okay. So I had an interview with Double Lift the other day, and that was the last episode before this one. And he was talking about how him and Chouster kind of play in lane, where Chouster's kind of the person that says, "Okay, let's be aggressive," or says, "Oh, just hang back, be passive." How do you and Cop actually like intertwine as support AD carry at bottom?
It's about the same way. I guess I would be the one calling most of that stuff too. Um, and it's not because of anything. It's just like he. So I kind of feel like support has to lead in that sense. that you have to be the one that says, you know, hey, I want to go in now. You're the one giving that. I mean, the AD carry is just there. They're like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to last hit. I mean, they can also speak up and say, hey, they're kind of low. I want to go in. But it's generally like, I want to use my ulti. Let's go in. That kind of stuff. When I harass you, it's like, for instance, when I play support Yorick, when I throw my W up, I always let Koff know when he's whoever's playing Corki or Caitlyn. I'm like, you know, combo as soon as I W, use your Q because you're gonna pretty much automatically land your Q, and that's the best way we can harass together.
Right, right. That's a really good point. And actually, okay, well, we have a question here from the community, and this way, it's kind of curious about this one because I've always, support really depends on your ability to either, run gold, pretend quins, or be able to get some sort of assist in lane. How do you feel about your supports taking some early CS just to get their GP5s going?
Um, I actually think that's a superior way to play. If I get like 5 CS in lane, that means I got my gold per 10 and my gold intake is like doubled, you know? Because I think it's 5.3 you can get gold per 10, just with runes, and then you can get another 2. So you can get 7.3, I think, just base, and Philostone is 5, right? So you can 40% increase your gold intake per every 10 seconds, right? Which is pretty damn good. I'm not 40. I don't know. Am I doing fail math? Is it 60%? I think I'm doing fail math here. It's around there. Let's just say it's around. You increase your gold intake by a lot. I don't know.
You increase it by
I
some
I
amount
play League of
greater than
Legends. Okay,
zero.
I don't do math.
um, well, how do you feel about That's actually another question I want to talk about real quick. Is how do you feel about unconventional supports? Coming more common.
Um, well, there has been a rise in supports like Leona and Nunu are I'd say the two unconventional supports that are making the um, biggest I don't know, I'm trying to think of the word here, I can't think of it, but making the biggest, I guess, outcome or appearance, that's the word, appearance in a competitive play lately. And it's because Nunu and like Kog'Maw and stuff like that are like, it's disgusting. Like the laning phase is okay. You might lose your laning phase because you get counterpicked, but a late game Kog'Maw with Nunu buff on is like what is even going on? You know, it's like, hey, let's give him a better Phantom Dancer in terms of attack speed, and all he has to do is just like, just press W and he murders the entire team, and he can kite for himself. All I have to do is stand beside him and just throw snowballs at late game, and it's incredibly strong. As far as Leona goes, I'm personally just not that big of a fan of Leona. I don't know. I hate how slow she is, and I can't stand it, and it just bugs me to no end. So I just don't play her. It's just she just doesn't fit my play style, so I don't play her. Um, but she's also getting a lot of appearance in the competitive scene as well because her early game is super strong, and when she hits 6, I mean, if you combo that with a jungler, pretty much anybody's dead. And if you do it right, if you just catch someone on support and you have ignite, your AD carry has ignite or something like that, any support you catch at level 6 with Leona is pretty much dead. So it's more so running a kill lane to counter someone like that. Like say they had a Sona and you have Leona, it's like, oh, we lost the lane up until like level 6, but now I'm level 6. Let's just go instantly kill that Sona, and you will.
All right, now we're back into mid game here, and I want to go and start off, talking about what are your goals, for mid game slash team fights. What do you typically try to do, to keep your team alive in some sense, or at least help your team out.
Um, well, mid game, it's still kind of like the landing phase right now, despite us trying to go into mid game, but no one's really taken any towers, so the landing phase can sometimes last a lot longer, or a lot shorter, depending on how well people do in lanes or if they want to take towers or not. But generally, right now, I'm just gonna be probably gonna be looking for wards and stuff like that, trying to just control the map in terms of um, that's pretty much it. Just trying to control the map with CS. And when the team fight does break out, it's just my job to hit as many people as I possibly can with R, and just peel for whoever needs to be peeled for and heal for whoever needs to be healed for.
Okay, and this is something that really Squeak, wow, really does not get talked about a lot is the mind game between your support and the enemy support. If in this game you notice that there's a lot of pink ward action going down. Actually, we won't just commentate on this dragon fight real quick, and then we'll get back into that question.
Yeah, sure. Here I'm waiting out. See right there. I'm waiting for the moment that everyone's kind of clumped up to hit them with my ultimate, because that's when I'm going to be trying to use that, right? So I think I hit 3 people there with my ultimate. kind of stopping their engage, and now my team's going in and pooping on him, as I'd like to say. We got Rumble coming in here for the back, but he's a little bit too late to the team fight, so he'll probably go down, I think. I don't really remember. Yeah, he just got chunked. But yeah, that's basically what I was doing. I was just focusing on my positioning that team fight, and not really. I'm just playing like the waiting game. I'm gonna wait and wait and wait and wait until I have that perfect moment where I can catch, 3 people plus with my ultimate, and that's kind of what I was doing there.
Okay, and yeah, can we talk about the kind of mind game? Because I want to point out is that you are 1 gold per 5 ahead of Soraka. You do have your heart of gold, and she did not at the time. At least when we start talking about this. Can you kind of talk about that? In terms of pink wards and oracles.
Yeah, well, I prefer pink wards for early game at least, if I'm support, um, because I feel that not a lot of support players grab a lot of pink wards. I mean, they'll try to grab one after I grab one, but then I kind of feel like it's too late. Or, or if I notice them get a pink ward, I will just save my pink ward to counter ward his pink ward. And it's really what you got to do. It is a mind game. It's where are they going to be placing these wards? And a lot of times you're just guessing. Like, I think they've placed a ward right around here. Like, you just guesstimate it, you place your pink ward, you're like, oh, cool, found a ward. Here's 25 gold, And that's just kind of the ideal set that you have to get in your head when you play support is, where can I counter ward? When can I counter ward? And have they placed their wards down so that you can get that 25 gold back?
Yeah, and speaking of that, do you actually like work with your jungler or talk with your jungler at all when putting pink wards down to like open up potential games?
Yeah. Crumbs often likes to buy pink wards as well as I do. I don't know. We're not a team buying oracles too much. I mean, granted, buying oracles is really strong early game, but the problem with buying oracles really early, when you're not ahead, but which we are right now, as you see, I already got my 2 gold items, and I got my boots. I got 5 wards. I'm pretty much set. I can comfortably. I can't talk. It's gonna avoid that word. I can buy oracles and not really have any fear of losing any gold because, oh no, I lost oracles and I'm not that ahead anymore. But it really doesn't matter because we're that far ahead. Um, but yeah, we do coordinate that kind of stuff. Crumbs likes to pink ward Dragon a lot, so if I keep the bottom little tri-brush pink warded and I keep my lane clear so he can come and gank for that, he really likes that a lot, and he'll often call out like, hey, I already got a pink ward for Dragon, don't worry about it, because he's going to be the one trying to take Dragon and making that Dragon call.
Right. Yeah, and definitely in a previous episode of Volton 10, I cannot remember who the name is, but they're talking about. I think it was special. It's talking about how what's the point of pink ward and a dragon if you're not actually going to go for a kill on it. It's kind of just a waste of 125 gold if you're not going to try to capitalize on what it gives you.
Well, no, it's just controlling the map. It's fear. You can win bottom lane if I have Tribrush warded and I have Dragon warded, and I've killed 2 wards with those two pink wards. That means they have no vision bottom lane. That means they're just in fear if they don't have CV of being ganked. They can literally do nothing if I have 2 pink wards down and they don't have any wards out.
Jeez, we're
Like,
seeing here that you're like warding everything. You put down, I think, a total of like 5 wards in the past like minute.
yeah, well, when you're up, you really have to capitalize on sight. Sight is the most powerful tool I think in this game. Sight will win you games by far, and I think that's really undervalued by a lot of people in this game. They supports don't do anything. It's like, you know what? Just because I'm not buying real items, I'm buying wards, and those wards are going to play. Oh look, there's Shyvana teleporting back. There's that's where he is. If you have map hack, how much easier is it to win? Just think about that. So that's exactly what wards give you. It's essentially little mini map hacks.
And it also creates a sort of like snowball effect for your team. Is that if you get a little ahead of support, your ability to take out enemy wards, by buying that oracle to deny them vision, it kind of creates a snowball effect for your team where the enemy team can't really come back for that in the sense of
Yep.
Soraka doesn't have the money to get wards. Is How do you feel about that though, and how do you
It,
kind of counter that if you're in Soraka's position?
when you're down like that, it's really I guess difficult to come back from that. Really, you're at the mercy of the other team until you have a team fight. And if you can turn that team fight around and you have a stronger team comp or something like that, that's when you're really gonna you can be, hey, I'm the one who has the oracles now. I'm the one who's got all the wards now, and it's really like a game like that. So once you do get ahead, you kind of gotta grab that. But when you're even, it's pretty difficult. Um, it is like a game of just like, okay, who's gonna roam, who's not gonna get caught, and you know that kind of game that you're playing. Oh, Pobalt was. Oh, Pobalt there.
Yeah, just sorry, that sound actually just like got missed being bursted by Gragas.
Yeah, he missed. That does happen.
Yeah, it seems like okay. So we were saying about when you're on Soraka's side of this is that you kind of you hope for a team fight to happen. Do you kind of encourage your team to start a team fight if you're in Soraka's position? Like, do you say, okay, guys, we really need a
Um,
team fight because we're losing vision on the map and I can't really do a thing about it?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're really down, then you really can't do anything. But if you're not like, it was only 10-6, right? And they were down like one dragon, which really wasn't like a dragon and tower. I mean, you're not that far behind. You can go roam as five or do something. You can go try to take objectives. Like, hey, dragon's gonna be up. Let's go roam as five because we see, for instance, who was top lane? Do we have no? Who do we have? Oh, Kennen. Like Kennen's top lane. Um, let's go roam as five, and hopefully we'll 4 vs 5 them because I need to buy oracles. We need to start taking back some map control. So that's what you got to do. It's like a team thing. When you're down like that and you don't have someone who can roam like me, because we're ahead, I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna roam around because I'm kind of quick. I'm gonna take out all these wards. If you're behind on Soraka side though, you do need to go with your team and to get all those wards out and start taking back some map objectives and just some map awareness.
Yeah, we definitely saw that once you had that Oracle, you just straight roamed and left MF at bottom, which it really gives her advantage in terms of levels. She, is 13 compared, well, Graves is 13 as well, but it kind of gives her that advantage with you not in lane to kind of, leech some XP from her.
Yeah, I don't need to do anything. I mean, I'm already level 11. I already got my heal maxed. I mean, I don't do too much damage. My aura's, it's decent, but I'm just there to basically be a heal bot, roam, ulti when I can. I mean, playing Sona is pretty fraceful. She's not a difficult support to play, like a lot of supports can be. Like Janna is like super difficult to play. Alistar is super difficult to play. Like Sona and Soraka are like pretty faceful in terms of that. So I really don't have to do much other than hey, I'm just gonna roam around clearing wards.
All right, well, let's go to another community question here. It's by Six Sided Pentagon. Yes, what are the main skills do you think a great support has, especially ones that go unnoticed?
Um, well, I would say like the last thing in tower, a lot of people don't even know about that you can help your AD carry CS like that. I'd say knowing when to take brush control and knowing when to back off are huge things because a lot of people, if you just like run at them in lane, they're like, whoa, 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 why is this guy like coming at us? They won't just like turn and fight you. They'll be like, whoa, this man,
Back up, bro.
this Sona is running into our brush. Like, what are we gonna do, right? And they're like, whoa, I don't want to do that. And if you just sit there and take that brush control, you can zone people in lane, and it's incredibly powerful. Um, yeah, see there, I tried to combo with my ulti though. Successfully got it, which was good. But yeah, that's really what you wanna aim for when you're doing that.
What about in terms of actually? Okay, I saw this question on the forums, and I didn't actually write it down to put in. But when do you know to buy tier 2 boots? I know like Soraka, she's a champion you really want to get your cooldown reduction boots for. Once you get at least 1 or 2 GP5s. But for other champions or other supports, you typically ever get tier 2 boots unless like it's really late game.
Mm, yeah, well, depends. It depends on the team comp. I mean, if they have like a Kennen, Morgana, um, Rammus team comp, and they're just like it's so packed full of CC that it makes you want to like cringe. You're gonna want to get Merc treads pretty quickly. But versus this team, they don't have too much CC. I mean, really, they don't have like any CC. It's all soft CC. So I don't really have to do anything. I can get my cooldown reduction boots and be okay. And I don't even really need to get CDR boots. I just got them because I like to have them on her.
Okay, and well, in sticking with items, what do you think of the new like Locket of Iron Solari and the new like Zeke's Herald? Do you ever pick those up?
I honestly don't think Zeke's Herald is that great of a support item. I think it's actually better on like a bruiser or a jungler. Just because I don't know. I think it just fits better on that. I mean, not a lot of supports use a lot of auto attacks or that kind of stuff. They don't really get a lot of utility out of it. But if you put that on your bruiser, like I know Sidco likes to get it on pirate and stuff like that, and he's like, yeah, I love it, and it gives me all the stats I need on pirate because it does. I mean, it's actually a pretty good bruiser item. But as for the Locket of Iron Solari, I can't talk, man. The Locket
The
of Iron Solari.
locket, we'll call it the locket.
Yeah, just the locket. We'll keep it simple for me because I can't talk. Um, yeah, I actually like that item a lot on supports though. I think it's like I don't know how much it is. I think it's like I don't know, like it's over like 1,000 damage absorbed for your team, right? So it's actually quite good in a team fight. So if you pop it, you hit all 5 people. I mean, and someone like again like a cannon comes in and ultis your team, you just absorbed 1,000 damage for your team, which is actually pretty big. I mean, that can make or break a team fight sometimes.
Yeah, I know people don't personally like hearing my opinion because I don't think my opinion matters at all. But at least for me, I feel like the Locket is more of a item you would go against a team that has like an AoE kind of damage composition, and like an Aegis would be more worthwhile in terms of money for like a team that has like a single target burst. I don't know if you agree with that or anything, or if you can actually give us your thoughts about that.
Um, yeah, well, it actually does make a lot of sense. I think they both do pretty well. In in both scenarios, they both do pretty good. I think there is a time and a place. I think that you were right that it does make a lot of difference in a AOE team fight comp for the Locket. It is a lot better in that situation, and Aegis is a little bit better for the just regular 1v1 fighting situations.
Yeah,
So
and not
I
to
think I
mention
think you're right.
you don't lose the GP5 off the Heart of Gold by turning it into a Locket. Is kind of
Yeah,
like another like aspect of it.
it is that is an advantage. But again, they're both good. I mean, if you can, just get both.
All
I mean,
right.
that's I mean, honestly, that's probably the best supporting thing you can do is just like Aegis, Shurilias, and a Locket are I'd say the 3 strongest supporting items you can get.
And this, okay, so I keep on talking about items because it's really important, and it seems kind of stagnant with supports. But this was like a 29-minute game. But in terms of like a 50 or 60-minute game, what's the kind of desired item build for a support, like in the end, and not necessarily taking into account what they have on the other team, like something you have to pick up to help out, like an aura, for instance, like Frozen Heart or something.
Um, Yeah, well, Frozen Heart is situational. Like, I would normally get a Frozen Heart on a lot of my support champions. I sometimes even rush it if we're verse like a super like they have like 2 ranged AD carry kind of team comp, or they have like some sort of just super AD heavy comp, right? Like a whole bunch of bruisers or something like that. That's when you can get a Frozen Heart and you can rush it because A, you're going to be super tanky. B, the cooldown reduction is fantastic, and C, the passive on Frozen Heart is like amazing. And I would only get that on myself though if my team didn't have someone like a Cho'Gath top lane who's gonna rush Frozen Heart. Let's say we got like a Lee Sin and a Kennen as our jungler and our top lane, like what we did. I would be the one to have to get the Frozen Heart because what is the mana and all those stats on them gonna do? Nothing.
Right. What about an Abyssal Scepter? Is that something you would typically build in like a long game to help out your AP carries? Since you read Scion and
Um,
Kennen, you kind of are more of a AP heavy team.
yeah, I would assume that one of them would get that. Because I don't feel that it's really support's job to rush an abyssal. I mean, there would be like a certain situation, I guess, if my 2 AP carriers were like, my build is not going to be an abyssal. We're going to be focusing on like double Woda and just like void and some other stuff, and they also ran a double caster comp. That is when I could get an abyssal and safely do it.
Well,
Otherwise,
actually, I don't mean rush though. I mean like in a 60-minute kind of game. Would
oh
that be an
yeah,
item you would typically like build?
yeah,
At the end.
it could be. It could definitely be a part of my item pool if they have a strong if I am running a double caster comp and they also have the strong AP. I mean, that gives me every stat I need. I got MR and I provide for my carries and I'm supporting my team.
All right. Well, I guess that's the end of the episode. We've actually been running past the victory screen, but I really appreciate you being on the show, and I want to give you the option, to give any shout outs you'd like to before we kind of close it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys should check out all our guides that we're doing on lolpro.com. Great site. We're doing a whole bunch of professional guides made by professional players from teams like Dignitas, EG, and Curse, of course. And I'm also, you should check out Reign of Gaming and my Facebook. It's just Elements, and I post all my updates like that. And yeah, I guess that's all my shout outs. I guess to Alienware and to TeamSpeak.
All right. Yeah, I will definitely have links for those in the info section if you want to check those out. I guess that's it. I hope you guys like the video and subscribe, and thanks for watching.
See ya.